Hey, what's up guys? Mr. Dan here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another 5 minutes or less review. We'll just get that Piranha out of here. Today we're taking a look at 1978's Piranha, Joe Dante's second film, a New World Pictures production. This is the special edition, collector's edition of Piranha, 4K and Blu-ray. It came with the pins there. There you see New World Pictures there. Lost River Camp. And of course it came with this awesome poster. And a 4K and Blu-ray. I watched the Blu-ray. It looked pretty fantastic on my TV. I got to tell you, it looked phenomenal on my TV. There you see the Blu-ray and the 4K. Just what a fun movie. I mean, what can you say? And the key to success for this film, I think, is the overall tone of it. They decided, I think, very wisely, not just to make this a copy of the film Jaws, which, of course, was a huge smash hit from just a few years earlier, where a lot of filmmakers would have just had a similar story where you substituted in piranhas for sharks. They decided to have fun with this. After all, this is produced by Roger Corman's New World Pictures, you know, where they often had to stretch the budget a little bit. It's directed by Joe Dante. Of course, later on, he would make many films such as Gremlins and The Howling, which would be, you know, just chock full of self-aware references. And it was also co-written by John Sayles, who, as a filmmaker, typically made very serious films like The Secaucus 7, Matewan, Lone Star, excellent filmmaker in his own right. But when he worked on creature features as a scriptwriter, he often sort of imbued them with a wry sense of humor. You know, they were often kind of self-aware. And I'm talking about, of course, this film and the film Alligator. And, you know, this film is just tons of fun. And what a great cast. It basically opens up with a woman who's a skip tracer, someone who finds missing people, played by Heather Menzies. She kind of teams up with this drunk dude, played by Bradford Dillman, who sort of lives on the river. He's got an old buddy, played by Keenan Wynn, lots of familiar faces in this, who plies him with alcohol and keeps him busy, and they talk about fishing and so forth. Well, she shows up because she's looking for a couple lost hikers. And we see in the beginning a couple, they're hiking through the woods. They find like a pool with a fence around it, not even a lake, just a pool and some kind of abandoned facility. They decide very stupidly to go skinny dipping in there, and things don't really work out too well because what do you think is in the pool? It turns out that this is some old military facility where they were experimenting on piranhas. So she convinces the Bradford Dillman character to help her find these missing people. Eventually, they find the laboratory, the facility. They break in. We get to see some really cool stop motion, like hybrid fish lizard creatures, compliments of the stop motion work of Phil Tibbets. And then we meet Kevin McCarthy playing Dr. Hoke, who was a researcher at the facility and who is kind of a broken man because he knows that horrible experiments were carried out there. So they kind of take him along. They find the son of a canoer who got devoured by the piranhas. They bring him along, and eventually they are detained by the military. We learn that there's sort of a conspiracy between the military and the town to keep all of this quiet. We meet Dick Miller's character of Buck Gardner, who's about to open a kind of a knockoff, second-rate lakefront theme park, or, you know, theme park on a river. He's got this assistant with him at all times. He's yelling at him, and the guy's saying, oh, a lot of the customers are noticing a lot of the props are recycled from other facilities. He's like, of course, you know, I'm not going to spend money on this stuff. I mean, he's a real character. This is a great Dick Miller role. I think I need to do a top 10 Dick Miller role movies video at some point because he's hilarious in this. And Barbara Blasky is also in this. Of course, she was also in The Howling. And then Bruce Gordon plays Colonel Waxman. And I'm looking at this guy going, I know this guy from somewhere. And it turns out he plays like the town bully in this film, Curse of the Undead, which is like a horror western from the 50s. He was great in that. So he's kind of hilarious in this. And, you know, all the bad guys get their comeuppance in a movie like this. You know it's going to happen. Then you have Paul Bartel, who's playing like the head camp counselor or director of the Lost River Camp, which of course is where Bradford Dillman's daughter is attending. So eventually he realizes his daughter, you know, is at a camp where they go swimming in the same river that all these piranhas have been released into. And then Barbara Steele plays Dr. Mengers. She's like a mysterious woman who's involved with this project as well. And, you know, they try to stop it. They get detained. At one point, there's a little nudity because Heather Menzies has to flash a soldier who's guarding her, who is played by John Sayles in a cameo. they escape and try to prevent this massacre, and it's too late, and it's just a total bloodbath. The effects of the piranhas are a lot of fun. You know, probably, I'm guessing they wish they could have done a little more. You have some close-up puppet work where they're like gnawing at people's legs and things like that, and, you know, there's quite a bit of blood in this movie and missing limbs and so forth. And then you have some shots of the piranhas coming almost like straight at the camera or at an angle where they're just coming in straight, not even like really swimming. They must have been attached to some sort of wire work, and lots of thrashing around effects. But, you know, just like I said, lots of missing limbs at the end and total chaos. And we even learn a little bit about Bradford Dillman's daughter. She's kind of afraid of the water, but perhaps she'll rise to the occasion and help save the day at the end. Just a totally fun movie. So once again, this was the special collector's edition from Shout. There's tons of special features on here. I actually watched all of the scenes from the TV cut that aren't included in the theatrical film. And there's actually some pretty good scenes. There's a couple, maybe a minute or two of dialogue I think they should have left in where the some of our main characters are talking about their backstory a little bit. There's some other things that, of course, you know, like establishing shots of Dick Miller getting ready to make a speech. It didn't really need to be in there. So, of course, for the theatrical cut, you know, for TV, they had to cut out some of the violence, so they had to fill it in a little bit. But I thought that was very interesting. So great special features on this. This movie is just tons of fun. I mean, it's one of these old sort of classics that I've gone back and revisited, and just like The Day the Earth Stood Still or The Howling, you know, I just couldn't believe how much I liked it, even though I thought I remembered most of it. What are your thoughts, guys? Have you seen Piranha? What is your favorite Joe Dante film? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll talk to you next time. Come back again for more film reviews. Thanks.